Simon Told Helen wins a half length. Zach Benelli second.
Welcome to Greyhound Gossip.
Peaky Blinders start cheering for Tommy Shelby wins the WA Sprint Championship final.
Featuring Peter O'Neill and Leia Ernest.
Mozza moves up to Mermaid Manelli. Fab's Gem 3 deep. Here comes Fab's Gem.
Hard stole Rico by 5 lengths to Simon Told Helen. Third Tommy Shelby.
This segment is dedicated to the discussion and promotion of greyhound racing.
Cindy's Oliver, Rockstar Patriot, Paul Stewart, back-to-back with Rockstar Patriot in the Galaxy.
Handsome Prince, a bolder clear. The former Tasmanian Handsome Prince has won the $1 million chase.
And a very good morning, everyone. Tune into TAB Radio. It is a 9:07 a.m. and a very good morning to officially a Group 1 winning owner now, Peter O'Neill.
Well, how good does that sound and how good does it feel? Outstanding weekend of greyhound racing, and it all started, of course, last Thursday night when we saw Good Odds Emma take out the Group 1 at Dapto. The Dapto Megastars, we'll talk more about that as we go through the show, but a big weekend of greyhound racing right the way across Australia. Of course, not only the Dapto Megastars on Thursday night, we had group racing up in Queensland. We had heats of the Hobart 1000. Vice Grippers made it through to the final. We'll talk with Jason Lincoln about that as we go through the morning. And we also had some big racing in Victoria with the Laurels as well. So it was all happening. Saturday night at Cannington, the Anniversary Cup, and amplified. There was talk prior to the race whether she'd be able to get across. She's electrified at the moment. She's flying. She's won the last 3, and she set a new race record, 29.49, when she defeated Hinto, the Derby winner, in the Anniversary Cup. So well done to Crystal Shinners and the Scary One Racing Syndicate.
Yes, and also not to forget the Stereo Series final with Rob Westworth taking out the win with Pilbara. We'll be chatting with Rob a little bit later on in the card.
And that greyhound Pilbara has now won over $200,000 in stake money. Rob's done a wonderful job with him, and another syndicate owning that. It's the best way to get involved with greyhound racing. I know you're in a syndicate with Panama Pepper, and you get the opportunity to get in with other people without having to outlay the full amount for a greyhound or a horse, whichever you might be going into, and just the involvement in the sport. And while I was on this side of the country, the excitement, and I was shaking. Remember when Panama Pepper won that big race up in Queensland?
Yes.
And you were shaking. Like, it's just unbelievable how it just takes over your body, and for 5 minutes until you come to grips and you watch the replay 2 or 3 times and then realise that, we've just won a Group 1. It was fantastic.
And Pete, you obviously own Good Odds Emma with a few people, so there's quite a few of you.
There is quite a few, and we'll talk about the syndicate in a moment, because Punters HQ, Joe Lanutti, is about to join us. But let's go back, because Matt Jackson's a part owner of this greyhound, and we'll find out some of the other owners as well. But Matt Jackson's a part owner, and it is a big thrill for a race caller to be able to call their own greyhound, but to call it in a Group 1 and win, it was another level. And this is Matt's call of the Group 1 Dapto Megastar on Thursday night.
And they're racing. Yuko Girl begin well down on the inside. Good Odds Emma out fast. And the favourites, they go toe-to-toe into the first turn. Up there to third is Coast Model a length away. Fourth on the rail is Fatherick. They're followed next by Lockin Varlona. A gap Punters Bandit. Forever Thankful and on the bus. Off the back straight, and it's Good Odds Emma. She's taken the lead from Yuko Girl. They're 2 lengths in front of getting up on the inside. Lockin Varlona. They corner. Good Odds Emma's drawn to the lead. Flashing late the inside. Lockin Varlona, but it's Good Odds Emma to win the Megastar. She beats Lockin Varlona. Third, Yuko Girl. Fourth, Punters Bandit getting home. They're followed by Father Rick. Then on the bus, Coast Model towards the end with Forever Thankful. The time is now 29.70, and that is a dream come true.
And it was a dream come true for Matt Jackson. It was a dream come true for me as well, because Jason Lincoln earlier the previous week rang me after the heats of the Dapto Megastar and said to me, if I can convince Joe Lanutti to offer you a share, would you like to come in to the syndicate with Good Odds Emma and have the favourite in the Group 1 the following Thursday? Now, I can be honest here and say that I'm not a regular follower of Dapto Greyhound Racing. I watched the whole meeting there on Thursday night and loved it. And now I've got a new love for Greyhound Racing in New South Wales. She started again on Saturday. She's qualified for another final. I even mentioned that for the Wentworth
Quick
Park
backup.
box draw. Yeah, the quick backup on Saturday night in the Christmas gift. But Joe Lanutti is joining us. He has given a lot of people the opportunity to get involved and share in a Group 1 victory in a greyhound that he could have kept for himself and the other connections. But Joe joins us online. Joe, good morning.
Morning, Peter. Morning, Leia. How are you all?
Yeah, very well.
Fantastic.
We're still excited after that Group 1 win. And you had another big day yesterday, which we'll talk about with She's a Pearl. But first of all, tell us about you and Craig and how you got involved in greyhound racing and the syndications of Punters HQ.
Yeah, Craig and I just started about 5 years ago, Pete. We just met up with a few guys and decided to buy a couple of dogs in New South Wales, just some cheap dogs for a little bit of fun, and it just expanded quite quickly. A few of their friends and family wanted to jump on board, and then we just kept rolling with it. As you do, as things progress on, you start to get better quality of animals, and I think at our height, Pete, we probably had 40-odd greyhounds at one stage. Now we're down, I think we've got about 6 or 7 racing in Australia at the moment. There's a few out injured on top of that, but it's a sort of boutique at the moment. We've got the owners that want to race some really good animals, so that's where we're at, and they like racing in these big group races. So touch wood, whilst it continues, we'll keep going, but it's been a rapid rise over 4 or 5 years.
Jason Grimson had a Group 1 at Dapto with the Good Odds Emma on Thursday night and then backed it up and took out the Inter-Dominion. So it's not only greyhound people that you're getting involved, you're getting people from across all 3 codes and in different sports involved as well for the first time.
Yeah, I think that's fantastic. Jason Grimson sat in the death seat at Dapto, then sat behind the leader at Melbourne. So he's done it all, Mr. Grimson. But isn't that great that we can share it across all 3 codes? The likes of, I think we started with Björn Baker, and then Greg Hickman came in, and then with Brenton Abdullah, Jason Grimson, as you said, Brittany Graham, Luke McCarthy. So all these kind of guys are getting involved, and I just think it's fantastic to grow the sport, Pete.
Now, how many, that was your 5th Group 1 for the Punters HQ, Group 1 win on Thursday? Yeah,
that's correct. Yeah, $1 million chase doesn't count, obviously. It's not a Group 1. But, yeah, so that's 5 wins and 9 placings from 46 attempts at the top level, which is... It mightn't sound a high strike rate, but for us, just to make one, let alone win one, is outstanding.
Now, I spoke with Jason Lincoln last week and mentioned how he gave me the opportunity to get involved in a Group 1 winner, which is outstanding. I've had a few greyhounds win, and to call them winning like Matt Jackson did there on Thursday night is just calling to another level, because you have to stay composed. And I spoke to Matt after the win, and he mentioned that he stayed composed, Leia, up until the home corner, and then when he realised that she was a winning chance, he said he just lost it, but he described it perfectly. The opportunity, what made you decide after you've purchased her, Good Odds Emma, what made you decide to then open it up to other people?
Craig and I had a really good chunk, Pete, that we retained in her. I was pretty keen to keep a lot of that. And then I sort of put the thought in Craig's mind a fortnight earlier when she made the middle distance final at the 25k over the 600. Just said, I reckon she's the kind of bitch now that she's going to be competitive in a Megastar in a couple of weeks, and wouldn't mind putting a couple of extra people in just for the ride, because we know what it's like when we started, when we made our first Group 1, and now 46 of them later. It's the best feeling ever, and I just wanted to share it around. Anyway, then I talked to Craig once she won. She ran second in a heat off that amazing run, and Wiz then sort of came and said, I've got a few guys. Do you mind if I buy a little bit more? Which it sort of coincided with what we wanted to do. And then, obviously Jace brought in. It was only a handful of people in her at the start, and then after Lincoln said, I'm going to go to Pete and Corey Smith and Jason Grimson, etc. I just thought, well, that's perfect. You can do that. You can buy the share and do as you please with it. And I'm just rapt that you guys could share the experience and jump straight into a greyhound in a Group 1. Now, win, lose or draw, she went around about $3, and we knew she'd be competitive. So I think that's just what it's all about, Pete. We didn't have to do it, but we wanted to.
Thank you very much for giving us the opportunity. It was exciting, and I'm still up on cloud 9. Can you explain to our listeners 2 things? One, how you actually were able to purchase Good Odds Emma and the fact that you don't have the breeding rights to her. And the second part is our listeners. Can they get involved in Punters HQ, or is it only because of the fact that I knew Jason Lincoln?
It's a good Leia. I love that Leia on board too. She's got all the luck in the world. We started Good Odds Emma was through Andy and Jodie Lord. They've got an association with Frank Hurst, and I think he sold tyres at Bind recently, and then wanted to sell Good Odds Emma and went to Andy first. He called us, as he does. He obviously wants us to race really good animals with him, so he arranged the sale. We got her at a really good price for the racing rights. Now, So obviously we did that with She's a Pearl as well. Pete, we would never have been able to buy She's a Pearl if we bought the breeding rights as well. It just would have been out of our price range. So for the racing rights, that's what our guys want to do. We're not really interested in breeding them and waiting 2 years to see if they're any good. We'd rather just buy them and race them like you did. You bought and you raced 48 hours later or whatever it was. So that's how we came into Good Odds Emma. And now, fast forward 4 weeks, there's 13 owners in Good Odds Emma, 13. So contrary to what a lot of people think, there's not 100,000 or a million or whatever. There's only 13, but we're all having a lot of fun. Secondly, Pete, to get involved, it's a little bit different over here. I'm not sure. I mean, you guys are doing a great job over there, but you have to be ASIC approved over here. I'm unsure if anyone is, or we're certainly not. So we're just a private syndicate that just race amongst family and friends.
Yep.
We're not on social media. We're not allowed to promote. We're not allowed to go and chase people, and we're well aware of that, and we don't do that. We've got our own little database, but checking with GWIC, we are allowed to let people in if they come to us. So obviously Jason Lincoln came to us in regards to this, and then he brought you in. So, and obviously you and I are mates anyway, but we can't actively go out and advertise and chase people. In saying that, Pete, talking to Wayne Billett the other night, the second CEO, so to speak, of GRNSW, they're very close to launching something come February next year with GRV. I believe they're going to, reading between the lines, I think they're going to get an ASIC licence, and then people could syndicate off their licence. So there may be a little bit of news to come in this space, but from our point of view, people have got to come to us. We can't go out and actively chase and put ads on Sky, etc.
All right, I appreciate you explaining that. If you can just hold on, I'm going to bring Jason Lincoln into the conversation. But before Leia and I are allowed to talk to Jason, part of the contract with him, we have to play this first.
Now on Greyhound Gossip, we welcome the Greyhound guru, Jason Lincoln, from Sky Racing.
She's a Pearl in full flight at the home turn. She led it by 6 on Coast Model. Richard Otter getting up on the inside. But this is greatness from a champion. She's a Pearl wins the $10 million chase.
And a very good morning to Jason Lincoln. How are you, mate?
Morning, boys. Hopefully that's Vandermark saying similar things on Saturday night after the Phoenix.
And Leia's with us as well, Jason, this morning.
Hello, Leia.
What a win it was Thursday night. We might have to change the intro and have Good Odds Emma there, but Pearl, she's flying at the moment. We'll talk about her in a moment, but thanks again. What an experience it was, and I think you hugged nearly everyone that was on course at Dapto there on Thursday night.
Look, we were up and about. There's no doubt about it. Look, I was there with a very, very good mate of mine, Peter Leonello, who was a guy that, or is a guy that I've known for probably a bit over 30 years, Pete. He was a harness racing man through and through all his life. And when I kicked off my little syndicate with my brother and a couple of his mates, we wanted to buy a few cheap dogs to just race around Tara. I think I explained the story to you about 12 months ago. Pete came over to the good side, and he's now been involved with Pearl, and he was there for Good Odds Emma on Thursday night as well. So it meant a bit, that one, I've got to say, especially for I spoke about this on your show last week, but just especially for the fact that it's well documented that Jared Daffy's not really well at the moment, and we're all sort of on that ride with him. So it was a little bit emotional, I've got to say.
It was a great night. Good Odds Emma, and she's backing up on Saturday in the Christmas gift, and she's drawn ideally in box number 1. And speaking of box number 1, Jason, you were there yesterday probably under the instructions of Joe to draw the box draw for the Phoenix, and you come up with box number 1, the first choice and the first box out there on Sunday.
Yeah, luck of the draw, really, isn't it, Pete? We were the first Kinder Surprise eggs to come out of the barrel, and I was actually talking to someone else, and I didn't actually hear a name getting read out. Someone said, "You're up." All right, that's all right, isn't it? Box 1. So, look, as I said on the Thrill of the Chase, Pete, it's not going to ensure us that we win the race, but it's only going to make it a bit easier anyway.
Joe, just before we let you go, and we appreciate your time this morning, and I know you're busy, so we will let you go, but before you do, the market with Tab Touch at the moment has She's a Pearl at $3.25, Amron Boy at $3.70, and Wow, She's Fast at $6.50. Paddy Wants Pats at $6. Do you think that your bit She's a Pearl will remain the favourite going into the final on Saturday night, and you'd obviously be very happy with the box draw?
Yeah, good question, Pete. I think she should be favourite, in my opinion. Whether she starts favourite, the Mexicans don't really rate her at all. We're taking on 6 of them, and I think they'll probably take her on. I think she might start 380, 390 if they get their way. But weight of money from our crew, I think she should be favourite, Pete. She's drawn perfectly. Her last trial was very, very good. We expect her to run 5 dead at worst to the mark if she gets it right. She'll be on the lead this week. No excuse. We've had excuses from after the $1 Million Chase win. There's just been something every time, but there's absolutely zero this time. This has been the main target for a fair way out now, and we're ready to rock and roll. If we're good enough, let's find the front and see how good she is compared to the mighty Mexicans.
We wish you all the best of luck. You've drawn the box, and you'll be down there, of course, on Saturday night at the Meadows on what is going to be a great race for the Phoenix. And just one final question. The Sandgroper next year, currently, which I can't believe, currently Good Odds Emma's not even in the Tab Touch market. We'll have to change that, because now that I'm a part owner, surely she comes across. But would you be interested in one of obviously the slots have all been taken for the Sandgroper? Would you be interested in sending She's a Pearl across, or maybe Good Odds Emma if a slot holder approached you?
All our greyhounds are available, Pete, for sure and certain, just how it lines up with the egg and around that Perth Cup around that time of year. But, who's not going to want to line up in a big race like that? As long as I can wear my lucky thongs to the track and Jason Lincoln doesn't say anything.
I've seen those in person.
It's a disgrace, isn't it? You'd think the bloke wasn't the biggest indicator in Australia. He gets around like a bum.
Good luck on Saturday.
Wow.
Wow, yeah.
Wow, Pete. Pete might... Or one thing surer than She's a Pearl, possibly starting favourite, is Peter O'Neill might own a few more greyhounds in the East by March.
I might do. Jay, thanks for the opportunity. A great thrill, and we wish you all the best of luck in the Phoenix with She's a Pearl there on Saturday night.
Thanks a lot. Take care.
Good on you. Joe Lanutti from Punters HQ. Great guy, and a great opportunity that Jason Lincoln and Joe were able to afford me there on Thursday night. We spoke earlier on, Jason. We won't go back over it with Good Odds Emma, but it was a great thrill, and you enjoyed that thrill as well. And you've got another opportunity this Saturday with She's a Pearl. So I mentioned to Joe, do you think she'll start the favourite?
I sort of concur with Joe a little bit. I think you would have got that vibe from the show yesterday on the Thrill of the Chase. I think what Pete says is right, and I don't know whether it was just hyperbole. Maybe they're putting a bit of mayo on there, but it just seems that they don't rate her in Victoria. Obviously, they haven't seen the best of her down here, so I can sort of understand to a certain extent why. And look, I think fair play. She does have to, she does have to come down here and show that she can bring her Sydney form here, which she's still yet to do. Okay, she did trial well, and she's drawn well. I think that Tab Touch price, me personally, I think that's about right, $325. I know I was speaking to Joe yesterday. He's got a bit shorter in his market. But I think that's probably about the right price for her. I think Amron Boy's absolutely the one to beat. Okay, box 4 doesn't look straightforward, but I think there's every chance he's going to plonk himself down on the fence and not be too far from the leaders. So he's a very, very popular dog at the moment, Amron Boy, and I wouldn't be surprised if he's the one rivaling her for favouritism on the night, maybe even start favourite.
And it's an interesting draw, isn't it, in the concept of the Phoenix and the way the box draw takes place. Obviously, the first is always going to take box 1, you would think. But Plaintiff and Jason Thompson, what he did, so for our listeners that didn't see it, he came up and there was, I think, box 4 available and 6 and 7 also, and he decided to go with 5, and his explanation afterwards was because of the fact that he wanted Plaintiff to be in the boxes longer than what so the odd numbers go in first, and Plaintiff drew, therefore, box 5.
Yeah, that's right. Joe said he needs a little bit of time to see himself in the boxes, and generally from even numbers he misses it a bit. So, yeah, there's always going to be a bit of tactical subterfuge around the last 4 dogs. I certainly get that the first 4 primarily going to be pretty boring, aren't they? 1, 2, 3 is guaranteed to go first, second, third, and then it's debatable whether you go 4 or 8 depending on your own dog. As I said, the subterfuge exists more with the last 4 dogs than it does with the first 4. I don't mind the way they do it. I think it's a point of difference. If they wanted to change it again in the future, I wouldn't have an argument against that either. I'm not married to it, but it did create a little bit of drama there, so didn't it?
It did. We haven't got a price market up yet for the Hobart 1000, but Vice Grip, the Perth Cup winners, made it through. I'm not sure if you've seen the box draw. Nine Eye Flyers drawn 1, Fernando Mick in 2, Jebediah 3, Ripaway 4, Izarava in 5, Rojo Diamond 6. Vice Grip's drawn awkwardly in 7, Power of Buddy in box number 8. What chances do you give the West Australian star?
Oh, look, I'd never ever say he's got no chance, Pete, because he's not the dog you can ride off. But I think what we saw in the heat was, I think that was born out of what I sort of said last week, that he just may not have the absolute speed to go with those dogs 460 around Hobart. And case in point, he's run the other day, like he got straight to second, and you would have thought, to all intents and purposes, it was a certainty from here to run down a dog that's inferior to him. But it was really only the last little bit he started to pick him up when his stamina was starting to kick in. So he'll need luck. It looks Fernando Mick's race to lose, I'd have to say. Rewind 6 months ago, Power Buddy from box 8 there, you probably couldn't have got the cash out of your pocket fast enough. But he went straight to the front the other night, Pete, in 29.78. You'd say every day of the week at his best, he's going to run you 50 for sure, and certainly if not break the record, because he's just that sort of dog. He's got, I think, at least 2 or 3 records in Victoria, and everywhere Steve White used to take him as a really break the record. So he still bears, you certainly got to be wary of him, but I do think it's Fernando Mick's race to lose.
And while all eyes were on Dapto last Thursday night and the Dapto Megastar, we had a WA star go up, young star go up to Queensland, and Trial Electrified went 29.79 at his first look and was very impressive. Yeah,
case in point, the dog that's going around in the Phoenix, Fiona Bell, trialled the same night, Pete, went 30.18. So that tells you how good a performance it was from a dog never seen the track before. And okay, Albion Park, as I said, I'm an unabashed fan of Albion Park. My life's going to be ruined when they move from there with the Olympics. I don't know where I'm going to find a lot of my winners, Pete, but I would have thought that they will go back over there for the Derby with a lot of confidence. And look, just maybe, they push on and look for a start in the big one, the Gold Bullion. If he can come out and impress in the Derby, there's no reason why they shouldn't roll the dice, Pete.
I said I wouldn't ask another question about Good Odds Emma, but would she go up to Queensland?
There would have to be some chance. As we know, Andy, as a rule, would prefer to stay home because the prize money in New South Wales is very good. But she's at that stage where she sort of has to travel to a certain extent, but more so Corball Magic now has to travel. Just speaking to Millsy after the Newcastle Cup, he sort of said, look, we're almost going to be obliged to travel him now because he's one of the best stays in the country. So it's probably always better to send 2 dogs than 1, Pete. So if he needs some company, Emma could go up there for sure because she wouldn't need to trial. She's already won at Albion Park. So they wouldn't have to worry about that. So, there would certainly be a possibility for sure. Another
big week for you. She's a Pearl, the Phoenix. You'd love to go down there and hold up that trophy in front of, as you call them, the Mexicans, our friends in Victoria. So we wish you all the best of luck. Enjoy the week.
Yeah, thanks, mate. And just very, very quickly, I think everyone knows myself and Richie Bella and a dog, Rich Link. He goes around tonight at Albion Park, Pedro, so give him a good kick. He's going really well at the moment.
All right, all the best. Good luck.
See you guys.
Jason Lincoln joining us on Greyhound Gossip on this Monday morning as we continue on, and we're about to be joined by Rob Westworth, who joins us, and Rob's having a remarkable run with his team at the moment, and one greyhound that's flying is Pilbara, and took his stake earnings to in excess of $200,000 with his win in the Stayers Series there on Saturday night, and Rob joins us. Rob, Peter O'Neill and Leia Ernest with you this morning. Good morning and congratulations on Saturday.
Thanks, Pete. How are you, Leia?
Fantastic. How are you, Rob? Still on a high after the big final win on the weekend?
Yeah, it was good. He's a good fella. Just goes out there and does his stuff.
It was a big 10-length win for him on Saturday. He's been loving the 7:15 trip at the moment, hasn't he?
Yeah, well, he's coming out good at the moment, so nothing like being in front, especially when you're pretty strong. Probably one that can catch us, and he got caught up, so...
What did you make of his run and the series itself, the fact that it started over the 6:47 at Mandurah? I thought it's a good idea, and then we have the final there on Saturday night over the 7:15. It was a really good run behind Zarbel the week before.
Yeah, look, I think it's good that you can take these dogs that are going week in, week out around Cannington and just switch it up a little bit, just sparks them a bit down at Mandurah, and then roll back up to Cannington for the final. It was good.
He's been a remarkable chaser, hasn't he, Pilbara? He's now, as I mentioned, won over $200,000 in stake money for his syndicate and for yourselves. And he is a greyhound that just is a bread and butter greyhound that is... He's made that feature final earlier in the year in the Galaxy, and people were a little bit surprised, but he's shown since then what a very good greyhound he is.
Yeah, look, he's a real good dog. He's a good dog at home, and, he just gives his best every week. He likes getting out there competing. He loves it, to be honest. So, yeah.
That was his 49th start for you on Saturday night. He's now won $138,000 in prize money here in Western Australia. Soda Seville is your second best. Is there much between the two of them?
I think Pilbara's got the wood on him, on Soda. Yeah, look, there's not a lot between them, maybe only a couple of lengths. But, if they're rattling down the home straight both in front, I'd be thinking Pilbara would be getting him, although he didn't a fortnight ago. So, yeah, look, maybe Soda's getting a little bit stronger, a bit more seasoned. But, look, it's good to have both of them.
It certainly is. Ben Mayo was a good run too the other night for you, finishing second.
Yeah, he's starting to get his head over the ball a bit now, so hopefully he can keep sort of punching forward. I'd love to find the front with him and see what he can do, but box draws make it pretty tough, so 3 box 8 from 4 starts doesn't really help the cause. We'd like to get close to the fence, find the front and see what he can do. But, we'll just keep punching.
And how many greyhounds do you have in work at the moment, Robin? Are there any pups coming through?
We got pups at the breakers and all that sort of stuff. Plenty of pups coming, and I've got 14 in the race shed. A couple are on holidays, but just keep ticking through them.
Well, it's been your best season, I think, ever. You've had over 30-odd winners so far this year, and I'm sure 2023 will be another successful year for you. Well done on Saturday night, and thanks for joining us this morning.
Thanks, Pete. Thanks, Leia.
Good on you. Rob Westworth joining us, and his team is having a really, really good run. Next week, Leia, we'll do some homework, and we'll go through the leading trainers, owners, and the greyhounds, so the track stars, which will be our final greyhound gossip for 2022. And it has been a remarkable year for a number of trainers and a number of greyhounds as well. So we'll go through all of that information next week. Exciting with the Phoenix coming up on Saturday night at the Meadows, the slot race. And, of course, we've got our own slot race next year, the Sandgroper. And also all eyes will be on Hobart on Thursday night. Good luck to Vice Grip and Adam Smithson and the team.
Yeah, it'll be a big show for us to wrap up the year, Pete. And, of course, I think it's been a big year for the both of us as well, being owners involved in the sport. So
it's great, isn't it?
Pretty proud of the both of us.
Yeah, and I've had more bets than you in on horses and dogs and so forth over the time with Tab Touch. But to actually own a greyhound, that feeling of the success of owning a greyhound and the excitement that goes through your body is just another level. So if you haven't been involved in a greyhound and you want to, get into a syndicate and get involved. It's a great way to do it, and I was lucky enough to have that Group 1 there on Thursday. We go to to Cannington tonight. I won't be going to Mandurah. I'll be going to Cannington tonight. The first gets underway at 11 minutes past 6, so I'll look forward to joining you a little bit later on.
We will indeed. Back soon with Race Day.